do you think about this fellow?
Right.
It's her nephew.
I don't like my nephew.
Play
You
cousin.
really can't take Kanye serious because I wouldn't take him serious as a candidate, but he's stealing votes from whomever,
Okay.
Sure.
That right. So if he's a serious candidate or not is taking votes away. So I don't know if him and Trump are in cahoots together.
Well, I would think so.
Right.
I would think so on the one hand, but on the other hand, I'm thinking anybody simple enough to vote for Kanye was probably not voting at all.
Right.
Before Kanye, which means nobody would have got those votes.
So he probably are cleaning up with the 30-year-olds, I guess, maybe. That's like their era of music.
And people who have an affinity for urinating on Grammys, which can't be that many.
Right.
Not too many people. First of all, not that many have a Grammy. And if they did, I'm not so sure they'd be so inclined to put it in the toilet.
Right. Or just sit it out on the lawn and urinate on it.
Right. And maybe he's not even taking the Grammy serious because he's been nominated for 61 maybe, and he has 21 Grammys.
Well,
yeah, he's got a lot of them.
Yeah.
But to your point though, you really have to think about who is supporting this. Now, there was some reporting done on one of the networks earlier today that the Republican Party was helping him with this process. And I saw a report about 2 or 3 weeks ago. My wife was telling me that one of the lawyers for the Republican Party was actually attempting to help him file some paperwork, and they caught her on camera. So, I mean, I'm not surprised that, they're pulling out all the stops on, everybody's pulling out the stops to win, the Democrats, Republicans, and whoever, even members of the birthday party. But,
who's in the birthday party?
Kanye, that's his party. It's called the birthday party. But he's saying now that he is a Republican, and, tomorrow he'll be a Democrat, and the next day he'll be independent. So, but that's Kanye's mind.
Around with a choir and the Bible and singing about Jesus, and the 13th commandment said, "Thou shalt not piss on the Grammy." I mean, I don't know what's he doing? He's changing too fast. Something's wrong with the fellow. And he needs some help. And that they just need to get him some help.
He needs medication.
And his orange friend can go with him.
Do we need medication? Which one is it?
I don't know what they call that. He needs about a 6-pack of whoop ass. That's what he needs. Somebody. That's right. That'll straighten you out. It always works.
Well, but let me ask you this though, Thin Bad and Shannon. Now, you are a former elected official. You're the son of a elected official, so you have that political lineage. And do you think, in your professional opinion, that he, if given the opportunity to get on some ballots in some states, can take votes away from anybody, whether it's the Republicans or the Democrats?
I mean, conceivably, yeah, the argument could be made that, that folks, and I was thinking that before, that he would take votes from obviously people would consider Democrats as their thought. But it just dawned on me just then when I said it was like, people who he's going to get to vote are people who probably feel disillusioned and probably weren't going to vote anyway, or going to toss their vote, throw their vote away. And so he's just giving them a name to throw it away on. But those if they even went to the polls, I mean, if they're going to the polls, it's because he's making them go. And then the question becomes, if he can appeal to somebody that mainstream politicians can't appeal to. Do you want them up in the party, no matter what party it is, on the one hand? But, what can you, I don't know. The argument could be made that, but that's taking a huge assumption that everybody who comes to the polls is either going to vote for this person or that person. And, but I'm not so sure that somebody who's following Kanye is somebody I'm going to be able to get to anyway. Not before November gets here. If you can sit there and tell me, if they can give me, if the fact that they would even be able to try to sit there and tell me why they think he's a valuable candidate and would be willing to take that time, trying to convert them is like my man said about Trump, it's like French kissing a buzzsaw, a chainsaw. You just, it don't make sense. It's like beating your head against the wall because it feels so good when you stop. The thing is, it don't make sense to me. I could be converting or picking up other people who I know will vote, the way I may want to vote. I'd rather take my time driving people who may have problems getting to the polls rather than wrestling with people and trying to convert folks you're not going to change them because they're not voting with logic. They're not voting about anything that makes sense to anybody who votes, who has been voting or who understands politics. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. There are folks who may do it, but my thought is, you know what? Those folks weren't coming out anyway. Mm-hmm. So if they're going to come out, then, they're going to come out and vote for him. If they're going to do it. Other than that, they're just staying home, and it's a vote that nobody would have gotten anyway.
Mm-hmm. Shannon, what are your thoughts?
I agree. I do. I agree. But that was the buzz of what everyone was saying, that he's just working in cahoots with Trump to take away votes. But like he said, it's like a ploy to take away votes, but they probably weren't going to vote anyway.
Yeah, I don't doubt that it's something that he worked on with his buddy Donald Trump. Ain't nobody never going to go broke underestimating his intelligence. Nobody's going to go broke there. So, after listening to what he had to say last night, good gracious, I couldn't even listen to it. But, I get it. I think it's not like the Bernie Sanders argument or, somebody who's a politician or who has some, who's been in it and understands politics, just happens to believe differently. Or even, a Ralph Nader, who I thought was a spoiler when he ran some years ago. But they seemed intelligent. They seemed intelligible enough to talk about politics, policies, and it was a matter of whether or not you agreed with them, with those policies or not. But this dude here, I don't see anybody, Democrat or Republican, being like, that's who we need on our squad. Right. But then again, we're saying, people were saying crazy things about Trump. Nobody thought he was going to be sitting here, including him. But here we are.
Here we are, 4 years later.
Yeah.
Well, as always, we appreciate your political analysis, Thinbad, and yours as well, Shannon. And one of the things I got to pivot back to the virtual learning for a minute, because as always, we have to give a special moment for the Honorable Phil from Maryland.
My man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We always want to make sure that we let Phil know that we know he is listening and we appreciate him. Phil said that he was listening for possible solutions. The problem is huge. He said, our problem is with many parents who cannot be home. Can you speak on that, Shannon?
It's hard to speak on because I have a job that is letting me be home. I have a job that's letting me be home with my son. So I know Las Vegas is a casino business, and they're not letting parents come home and work, do homeschool with their kids. So it's very difficult to leave the kids at home and hope that they're doing right. I mean, my biggest concern was that, job security. With everyone being at home, everybody should be on their P's and Q's, but that's not the case. We have kids that's doing unheard of things on the camera. And for us, it's job security. But if the parents were able to be at home with them, would they be doing X, Y, and Z while they're on the camera? Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, it does. And I know that's probably one of the biggest concerns you've had as an educator is what level of support the student is getting at home. And when you find that to be the case, what types of support do you give that student, or what recommendations do you make to the parents? I mean, how do you deal with that?
We have, like I said, we have social workers that make house calls. So if you're not logging on, if you're on camera doing something you're not supposed to be doing, we're calling. If you're on a website with the Chromebook and you shouldn't be on there, we're calling. We're making calls to verify what's going on inside the house. And if you're not answering, we're knocking on the door.
And are you finding that to be very effective?
It is. But can I say every school is doing that? I can't say that every school is doing that, because every school is following their own protocol, because we're still trying to figure this out, just like the parents are still trying to figure this out.
That's what I was going to ask. Is there like a system-wide approach to this when you know that you're having difficulties at home, or even, I know in some circumstances you may even have some challenges with young people acting up on the Zoom links or whatever you're using?
It's pretty much up to the principal to set a standard for each school. So there's not a district-wide policy like we're going to follow the same thing, but every principal got to make it fit their campus. Sure.
And I guess the other question is, are you seeing a increase or decrease in your comprehension and the grades since you've been in the virtual environment? I know you all went in there sort of towards the end of last semester, but when you look at what you're seeing now through the end of September, what are you seeing?
No, I see that the kids are doing better this semester than they were versus first semester of last year. Does that make sense? They're improving now. Now, you do still have the ones that are not logging in. So I can't speak on their behalf, because if they're not logging in to get the education, they're not getting the grade. Sure.
And, well, I guess the good thing about the whole electronic situation is it's easier to monitor who is coming in and out of the classroom environment.
Correct.
Excellent. Well, then, Bad, we have reached that point. And as always, Shannon, we really appreciate having you here. And, yes, we did. And we're so impressed that this time around you even brought theme music. So
she did her thing.
I mean, she's listen at that. We're just gonna groove with that for a minute. Yeah. Look, go ahead, Shannon. Look at Shannon doing the running man.
The snake. Look at the snake.
She's doing the snake. Wow.
See what you did?
Don't hurt yourself, Shannon. Don't hurt yourself. Woo, man, I'm tired. Good grief. Just watching Shannon work out like that made me tired.
That's it. She went right back into it.
But Shannon, we thank you for coming on as always, and kind of giving us your perspectives as a renowned educator that you are. And we certainly going to have you back, because I think everyone is wondering how this whole virtual thing is going to play out. And ironically, having two educators on the show, one from the collegiate level and one from the high school level, makes this even better. So
I'm an administrator. She is an educator.
I'm sorry.
Yes, no, I don't.